Hello, my name is Dr. Shambles. Oh, what the hell? My name is Dr. Shambles, and today we have a different video. Today we're actually gonna be trying to talk about what we could get in the starter deck of Katakuri. I know, it's very early to talk about this, but I just like to talk about Katakuri, and since I haven't done a video on him in a long time, I decided to bring it. And so what we're gonna have in this video is very simple. I created some cards which you guys are going to see here in the editing. The reason I'm showing you guys the current deck list I'm playing in OP 15, by the way. We're right now in OP 15. I believe people will come to this video more when the reveals of the starter decks come. So you'll be coming back here hopefully. But for now we are on P15, and this is the deck list I'm playing into the OP15 meta. And I'm showcasing you guys this deck list because we'll be going through this deck list a little bit, just a card here and there, comparing it to the cards I created that I believe should be the next buffs given to Katakuri so he can actually compete. Now, obviously, I believe that the starter decks only come in OP16 or OP17. I think it's 16, I'm not sure, but I think it's 16. So the meta, by the time you guys are seeing, by the time they hit, it's gonna be very different from the OP15 meta, I hope. But I'm still gonna use some of OP15 to compare to, but I actually created these cards without thinking of meta. I just thought about cards that could be insane buffs to the deck itself, because I think the deck has some flaws and cannot use its core strategy to its fullest, and that's what I want to bring here. Okay, guys? So this is the deck list. I'm not going to go through the cards. I'm just going to be using some as anchors to talk about. First and foremost, we'll be talking about the consistency of the deck. We're playing right now, we're going to claim the One Piece as a extra searcher with Pudding, but by the time I'm recording this, he has already been revealed. For example, new 2K searchers. For example, we have a Tsuru that's going to be a searcher on P16 for Sengoku, and that's what I wanna talk about here a little bit on Katakuri. I feel like Katakuri has been using a brick as an extra searcher for too long, and so I kind of want to bring a new searcher onto this deck that can help contemplating this deck without having to take such a big slot. Because the fact that this does have a trigger that once it comes on from lives, you can use it right away, yes, but it still feels bad sometimes to have this card in hand. You kind of want to have something else, and so I have two cards here that I would replace this with. First and foremost, it would be a rare card. Now, in case you don't know, usually starter decks come with two new SRs and then new commons. I don't believe they bring new rares, but I kind of would like to have a rare here. It could be a good surprise to bring one new rare. And so this new rare would be a Brulee Searcher. This would be a 1-cost, 0-power, 2k counter, and on play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Big Mom Pirates type card and add it to your hand. Then, place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Now, this comparing to the Tsuru. Tsuru does the exact same as the 2k counter, by the way, but you search the top 5 cards, and after you pick one, you trash another card from hand. So I didn't really want Katakuri to be trashing more cards in hand. I kind of feel like Katakuri needs to have some fuel in hand, some extra fuel in hand, to use to like cycle with Perospero or yeah, cycle with Perospero pretty much, actually. Sorry, yeah, because Perospero always needs to, or Linlin, you know, if you're still playing Linlin. I hope not. But if you're still playing Linlin, maybe 2, I would like for Katakuri to have an extra card. So that's why I decided to not put like Tsuru where you trash a card in hand, but instead you just look at the top 3 cards instead of 5, and I think that's good enough balancing. Also, Brulee is a 0 power, so there's no way this card can string onto lives. You need to attach a lot of Dawn. Also, there's another card here that would intervene in this 0 power, by the way, that I designed. And so I wanted to make sure that this card either is a searcher or a 2k. It's up to you. But yeah, I feel like if this Brulee would come from the starter deck, we could remove this to add Brulee, and then hopefully we could remove Strusen. Strusen is not a bad card per se, it's just like Uzohashi is better. So I would prefer to leave Uzahashi and remove Strusan, remove this, and add the new Brulee. This would leave us with 4 extra spots. I feel like space with this deck is very hard to come by, and so this is also another reason why I made Brulee a 2k counter that searches. It's 2 for 1. I think by the power creep, how we are going power creep in these sets, it's not really too much ask from this Brulee, so yeah, I think it's very good, and yeah, so this is the first card. It's a very simple card, but a very good card. Next is another searcher that would replace this. But this event is taking on the Mamaragan inspiration. Let me just show you guys here. Oh. In case you don't know, Mamaragan is the first SR event. And so I decided, you know what, maybe we could make the card for Katakuri, the extra searcher still be an event, but be a better event. And that would take an SR slot in our starter deck. But I think that would be fine, because here's the card I designed. The card I designed is, I decided to call Eating Donut, because, you know, I don't know what else to call it. It's a 0 cost event, which on main, you may rest one of your Dawn cards if your leader is Katakuri, which means you cannot use this into the purple-yellow pudding. Pretty much it has to be a purple category. It can only be played in purple category, which I think is very limiting, but I think that's fine because it's an SR event. You may rest one of your Dawn cards if your leader is category. Look at 4 of cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Big Mom Pirates type card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this will be a simple searcher. Instead of looking at the top 5, you would be looking at the top 4. You'll still be resting 1 Dawn, but what comes and what makes this card an SR is exactly the same reason as Mamaragan becomes an SR, which is counter. Up to one of your leader or character gains 1k power during this battle. So, which means this is not as strong as Mamaragan, by the way. Mamaragan, once you use this, you actually draw 1 card back. And in this case, to balance this event out, I decided, obviously, this card will not be giving you you would not be drawing a card. This also makes so that not every single deck could use this as a counter event, you know, because if this would be like, in case you don't know, the counter effect is not leader locked like the main effect, and so I decided to make this, you actually spend 1k, you know, just a 1k, just like it would be like the Brulee Searcher, and you don't draw. So I think that's fine, you know, it's an event, it doesn't go onto the field, but it has really good use, and you would still have to play this 12 2Ks, but at least your searcher event no longer is a brick, it's actually a plus 1k counter. I think that's a really nice help to the deck. So yeah, this is one of the cards, we're going to claim the One Piece event, is one of the cards I really want to get out. I think this card is very outdated and needs to be replaced, and that's why I thought of 2 cards to replace it. Either of these cards would be incredible, I think you guys can agree. And so, obviously, the Eating Donut one would take an SR slot from the starter deck, but I wouldn't really mind that. You guys will see, like, some other SRs that I designed here for the deck are just insane. So yeah, it would be a good balancing if we get either one of the cards, other SRs that I designed. Next that I want to replace is the Norodonoro Beam Sword. Now, this Norodonoro Beam Sword is incredible into the Katakuri deck, but I feel like it's very out of theme, obviously. And only that, this, I think, being a 2 cost does hurt the Katakuri a bit. You can obviously get it, that's why you play it on the deck, but I feel like it would be easier to be a 1 cost rather than a 2 cost, and it would be better if it was a Big Mom Pirates theme event. And so I designed this one, which is Flampe's Help, which is a 1 cost event, counter Dawn -1, give up to one of your leader or characters plus 1k power for this battle, then rest up to one of your opponent's characters. So it pretty much does the exact same as Norodonoro Beam Sword. The only change is that it is searchable, for this deck. It only costs us 1, but it also only gives plus 1k, and the rest of the resting one of your opponent's character comes by anyway. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like maybe giving plus 1k power is already too much for this category since it's searchable, so I wouldn't mind if this event came as a common. I designed it as an uncommon, but because of the plus 1k power. But I wouldn't mind if this would be a new common card for the starter deck, which instead of giving you plus 1k, you would just like rest an opponent's character. I still feel like that would be great for a 1 cost, and that would be fine by me. I just decided to give plus 1k power as a counter because, again, I feel like the power creep is moving pretty fast, and so I don't think I'm asking for too much for it to give plus 1k power, So yeah, that's it. That's another card. This is just, I don't mind this card being in the deck, the Northern Beam Sword, but I would prefer if it was the new Flampes Help card. Not only that, I think it would be very good to have the synergy of this event and the Flampes Help, in the deck, where you could use Flampes to rest a card, an opponent's character, and then you could use the when two men are fighting, blah, 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 to counter an attack, I think that would be incredible, it would be pretty on theme and would be pretty funny, and so I decided to design. This is another event, like, I feel like the problem with the deck right now is most of the events, especially, again, the Searcher is something that I really don't like it being here, but yeah. And now, let's go into the 2 cards that I designed that are just insane. These cards would put Katakuri on the map, and I decided, this is my opinion, by the way, I feel like every time Katakuri gets a buff, it's always a buff that comes a bit too late. He's always behind when it comes to the power creep, and that's why he's usually forgotten or never viable. And so what I decided to do is create 2 SRs that I know that would put Katakuri on the map, because it's what the deck's been needing for the longest time. Ever since it came out, it needed something to do things like the cards I'm about to show you, okay? I'm gonna go with the most insane one, and this is my absolute favorite card, the card that I truly believe should be an SR in the deck, and it's definitely what the deck mostly needs. I think it's what the deck needs to be competitive in the higher level. And this is the new category that I designed. This is a 5 cost, 6k power SR with no counter, and the effect is, if your leader has the type Big Mom Pirates, any of your Big Mom Pirates type characters that would be rested or stopped from becoming active during your refresh phase, you may return 1 Dawn card from your field to your Dawn deck, sorry, I forgot there, to your Dawn deck instead. And then, on opponent's turn, all of your Big Mom Pirates type characters with 8k or less original power receive plus 1k power. So, this card is insane. For the longest time, I cannot stress this enough, the problem with Katakuri is he plays very defensively. His 8 cost Katakuri is very good indeed, because you can swing with it, then it restands and gives you plus a Dawn, and it's a blocker during your opponent's turn. But the problem that Katakuri always had and still has is, for example, green color that had Hodi, had Azura, the event from Zora, I think it's called Azura, sorry. It had so much. Now NL can actually deal with this as well, which is everybody has a way to go by this blocker by resting it or decreasing its power and then KOing it, whatever it is. And so I wanted to help Katakuri as much as possible with this SR. Thanks to this, you no longer need to worry about Azura's, Hodis. There's other decks, the other cards. Right now, Hodi and Azura is the card that comes more into my mind, because at the time when the deck came out was the biggest problem of this deck. And now, another thing that I decided to add, again, because of the power creep we are right now, is a lot of cards can freeze. Right now, the meta is not removal so much, it's to freeze your characters. Katakuri can, in fact, let's imagine, if you swing with a character and you have the blocker Katakuri on your field, and for some way, somehow, they freeze. You don't reactivate once you pass your turn. No, let me come up with a better example. You don't have the 8 cost category on the field. You swing with 2 bodies. You pass turn. Your bodies are still rested. Your opponent freezes those 2 bodies. Once you play the 8 cost category, you can in fact restand those 2 bodies even if they are frozen. What I want is for them to not even be able to freeze. I want this character to be incredible when it comes to defense. I want this deck to be a defense menace, which means these categories cannot be frozen. These categories cannot be rested in any shape or form. You always have this blocker. Now, how do people would deal with this? As you guys can see from the way I wrote the effect, you can still decrease its power and you can still KO it. So this, if they do this, that is fine by me. They are taking 2 cards out of their hand. That's good enough resources for me to accept that my ace card, which is this category, goes by. That's it. For me, that's fine. But I feel like it was too free, especially now with power creep. It was too free to get rid of my ace character. Now, the opponent's turn. This is the part where I go all out. You know, the opponent's turn effect is insane. Like, it's giving pretty much everybody except your Linlin, your 12k Linlin plus 1k. For example, this pudding is not a 5k anymore, it's a 6k. This makes it harder to remove, but for example, but it's still somewhat easy and I believe somewhat balanced like, it's not that hard to remove because it's only 6k. I actually, when I first designed this card, I thought about giving 2k power. I think that's too much, because here's the thing. During your opponent's turn, this is no longer an 8k blocker. This is a 9k. It becomes a 9k because during your opponent's turn, it has plus 1k. I think that's a great buff to this. It cannot be rested. It cannot be frozen. So let's imagine another situation. You block with this, and then they freeze. Then next turn, you can no longer swing with it. So this new category would stop that as well. If you block, you know you're still gonna be able to swing. This keeps the core of the strategy of category incredibly consistent. And you can use this card, this new SR category, on the pudding as well, which I think would help a lot. Because that pudding is not in the best of shapes right now because of the rotation of block numbers. And I think this category is just an insane buff. It's just a really insane buff. And I would really love to have it. And I would replace that category for the Sunshine Pudding. Maybe remove this Linlin to 2 to play 4 of this category. This category is a 5 cost 6k power, so you can play it with the pudding combo and into purple NL, and that's why I told you guys at the beginning of the video that I was thinking about a little bit in the OP15 meta. This category against purple NL does not have that much value, but now it has value again. The same way that pudding could in fact use two categories to play with this 2 cost category. With this SR, the purple kata would now have great value into this. The purple kata would have another great value target for the 2 cost. And now the 2 cost all of a sudden comes back, keeps being incredibly valuable to the deck, and I think that's the best buff. So I would take away pudding because I think this category would replace it. Maybe remove Captain Kid. That's also a card we could remove it. Remove these 2 and remove 1. Remove Sunshine Pudding. Play it at 2. You know, remove this, and just play the new category. And that would be great. We still have Sunshine Pudding as an extra target for pudding, but we no longer need it because now we have categories that we can play. 2 categories that are insane to play, you know. And I think that's the best buff we could give to the deck. This is the card that I really hope that they bring something like this to the deck. Like, the opponent's turn giving plus 1k power, it's not really needed. I wouldn't mind if they just give me a category that does the first part of the effect, by the way. That's all I wanted. But the second part is me just like thinking about the power creep in OP16, OP17 to try and keep category a little bit more on the map for a little bit more time, okay? And now let's go into the last card that I designed. This card is also insane in my opinion. And this card is to replace is to replace the wait, sorry, I had a problem here. Is to replace this Charlotte Linlin. This Charlotte Linlin is pretty good, by the way, but I think it could be better. I think right now is me being a bit greedy with the design of cards, but I had fun designing these cards, and you know, I think Katakuri, my boy, deserves these buffs. So yeah, and the card is Charlotte Linlin, 9 cost, 9k power. If your leader has, sorry, I put there has the type Big Mom Pirate, this character gains Rush. Activate main once per turn, Dawn -2. If this character was played this turn, you may declare a cost. Reveal 1 card from the top of your deck, from the top of your opponent's deck. If the reveal card has the same cost as the declared cost, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life and trash the top card of your opponent's life. This card is insane. I mean, it's Linlin, that's why I went overboard. This pretty much is a new... It's kind of a power creep updated version of the 10 cost SR yellow Linlin that we had back in OP03, I believe. And this is kind of a fusion of all of the Linlins. I don't think we can see Linlin no more. Yeah, we can't. We can only see this one. But it is a fusion of these 2 Linlins plus the SR one from OP03 and this Linlin. And this Linlin is insane. Now, it has Rush just like this Linlin has, the 10 cost Linlin. I think this deck needs Rush, and I don't think, obviously, it shouldn't be a 12k Rush, but I think a 9 cost 9k Rush is still fine. Again, I'm thinking about the power creep for OP16 and OP17, as well as considering as the power creep that the OP13 brought. It could be a 9 cost 8k power with Rush, that would be fine by me. I still think it would be great. I still think it would be on theme, like having a Katakuri and a Linlin that are both 8ks. But this Linlin would be Rush, this Katakuri would be Blocker. But I decided to go, again, I went a little bit overboard because I love Katakuri. And so it has Rush too, because we need something with Rush. But what I wanted was to update this Linlin card, this rare card, into an SR. I wanted to give it an upgrade, so to speak. So we would remove this Linlin for the new. Again, we maybe reduce this to have 4 of these Linlins, and then it would have Rush and it would have the activate main. Why did I decide not to make it a on play? Because to set up these cards effect, you would need to use your leader effect or Charlotte Pudding effect. And if it was on play, it meant she was actually not a 9 cost, it would be a 10 cost. And for me, that would be fine, by the way, if you actually needed to do something first and it would be on play. But I decided that I would, again, go a bit overboard and just give the best version possible of a card. And so you would activate main, which means you could in fact like play the Linlin, swing with Katakuri or activate Pudding to send a rested Dawn instead of an active one. Because it's no longer a non-play, so it means you cannot, like, how do I even say this? Like, what you could do is maybe like swing with Katakuri, look into the top, or look into top with Pudding, then use Sparrow to cycle a card, get the 9 cost, get the Dawn back as active, and then play this 9 cost as a non-play. That is something else you can do. I decided to go overboard with the active main once per turn, obviously. And then to actually make it an on-play, so to speak, I decided to make it if this character was played this turn. So you cannot abuse this over and over, obviously. I thought of that. And it is pretty much a card with Rush that does the same effect as the 10 cost SR yellow OP03 Linlin. I think that would be nice. You get a Dawn back and you trash a card from your opponent's turn, from your opponent's life. This also helps into the yellow matchup, by the way, which is something I thought when I made this card. Yellow has a lot of good triggers right now, and I think a lot of those triggers stop this Katakuri, and so if you could in fact stop the triggers from coming, I think it would be a very nice buff, and that's why I decided to do that. Not only that, you get more life, so that means you get more defense, and I think that, again, I think that's the core of the deck, and so I think the Linlin is an extreme good buff, but I don't see this coming up. I think it would be another... If we got Linlin and a Katakuri buff, you know, to replace these two cards, the deck would already be, like, extremely fine. Especially the Katakuri one. The Katakuri one will help with a lot of our weak points, by the way. Like, a lot. Really a lot. And yeah. But I don't know if we're gonna get this. This is a long shot that I did. But I still think it's fun to dream. And it's fun to theorycraft with all of this. So yeah. But this was the video. It was as simple as this. It was just me predicting, trying to predict what we could have. That I think would be fun for the deck. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe. Comment what you think of the video. Comment what you think we could have to buff this deck. Comment if you really want to have this deck in the meta. I surely want. I want this deck to have as many buffs as possible. And obviously, I'm very excited for that starter deck. I'm obviously gonna bring a gameplay video with an updated version once those starter decks get released. And yeah, I still love this deck. I will always love this deck. I really enjoy it, and I hope you guys do. And I hope you guys do too. Thank you so much. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.